I am going to finish the first draft of my next book this weekend, even if it kills me. Today is January 11th, 2025. It is a Saturday morning. It is also 2 months exactly until my debut novel comes out, which very exciting. I have been working on writing the sequel since about September, off and on. It's been quite the experience. Not in a bad way, but my deadline is February 1st, so I have about 20 days, give or take, before I have to turn a draft of this book in, and right now it's very bad. This is to be expected. First drafts are supposed to be bad. However, I want to make sure that it's not bad enough that I'm embarrassed to send it to my editor when the time comes. So if I can finish the book this weekend by end of day tomorrow, then that gives me 2 weeks or so to go through and make some minor edits and changes, just to kind of clean up some plot points from the beginning of the book that I already know I'm going to want to change. To be honest, I am very impressed with myself for even making this deadline. The book itself is going to probably total at about 120,000 words by the time I'm done with this preliminary draft. And I didn't really buckle down and start writing it fully until mid-October, early November. In the middle of all of that, we had the craziness of moving and the holidays, and now we're finally settled in our new house and it's time to just get it done. Writing a sequel has been a very different beast than any of the other books I've written. When you're in traditional publishing, you're encouraged not to write any sequels until you have a book deal for the first book in the series that you've planned. This is encouraged for plenty of reasons, the biggest being that if your first book in a series gets acquired, sometimes maybe you're planning it in your head to be a trilogy, but you're only offered a 2-book deal, so it has to be a duology. Or maybe your editor goes over it with you and there are major changes that they ask you to make to the plot of the first book, and you agree that those changes make the book better. At that point, if you already have a sequel written, then chances are the sequel won't work anymore. Because of that, even though I have written 3 books before this, my 4th book, is the very first time that I have ever written a sequel. It's definitely a different experience than writing the first book in a series because I have to take all of the threads from that first book and tie them all together in a very satisfying way. Everything that was hinted at in book 1 now has to come to its full conclusion in the sequel. I will say it's nice to be writing about characters that I'm already very familiar with and to be writing about a world that I'm already very familiar with. The voices come a lot more easily to me, and so because of that, I think it's a lot of fun to take the characters that I love so much and put them in new situations. I am a very serious outliner. I have had this book outlined start to finish in a very detailed manner. We're talking like a 20-page outline here, since September that my editor and I worked on together and approved it. And for the most part, a lot of that outline has stayed the same. One thing about outlining though is that sometimes when I start actually writing a book, I realize that there are elements of the outline that I didn't get quite right when I was outlining it. Drafting lends a lot of vision to the characters and the plot lines that I'm working on. Sometimes the voice of the characters ends up being a little bit different. Occasionally, the decision that it feels right for them to make as I'm drafting and writing that part is different than the decision that they made when I had it very carefully outlined. Really, the only major changes I've had to make to the draft itself from the outline were cutting little sections because I knew it was going to make the word count too long. I draft an outline by scenes, so for the book that I'm working on right now, I have 2, maybe 3 full scenes left to write, and then 1 last epilogue scene. So 4, give or take. I estimate that that will be probably about 5,000 words, hopefully not more than that. And if I write 2,500 words today and 2,500 words tomorrow, then I can absolutely get it done. Either way, I'm going more based off of hitting the end of the scene than actual word count. So my goal for today, for Saturday, is to write through the end of the scene that I'm currently in the middle of and the end of the next scene after it. So let's get started. Just cleaned my desk so that it's nice and pretty for while I draft today. And Ray and Kylo are going to keep me company, as usual. So the very first thing I do before I start writing is I update my word count tracker. I'm trying to be really religious about tracking how much I'm capable of writing every day. That helps me to get a better idea of how long it will take me to draft a novel of a certain length. And because I work a day job on top of doing my writing, it's important for me to know that so that I don't overestimate my own abilities. So this is something that I'm doing to help me for the future. Okay, so I'm looking over my outline to kind of make sure that the part that I'm finishing up today, that I'm getting in everything that I need to. And this scene is just supposed to be like a really short one that just kind of like takes you from the really big action scene into something more normal life for these characters. But that is not how it's starting out at all. Right now, I almost feel like I am writing this scene as a way to tie up all of the loose plot ends in my mind so that I can then take that information and when I go back and revise, figure out how to weave it in more subtly for the readers. So a lot of this draft is just for me. Honestly, it's a lot of me taking this outline and figuring out what that means for the characters, what it looks like in book form. There are some things that I was undecided on when I outlined that now I've kind of figured out this is the direction that I want to take them. So first draft all over the place, and that's okay. I'm trying to be okay with that and know that finishing this weekend will help make sure that I have extra time to polish it a little bit before anyone professional actually has to lay eyes on this work. Okay, it's 11:45. I think in total I probably wrote for about an hour and 15 minutes. So I'm going to put my new word count into my word count tracker and let's see how many words I've gotten in so far. Okay, my final total for today was 113465. Type that in. I've gotten about 930 words. I finished the scene that I was working on when I started, finished that one, and then wrote one additional scene. So there is really only one more scene left. It's possible that I might finish this book today. I definitely was not planning on that. The scene that I started on, I thought it was going to be a lot longer, but there was part of it, like some action that I might add later, but I almost want to ask my editor about it first and see kind of how she feels, because the part that I might add, I can't decide if it feels like it would wrap up a plot line or if it would just be overkill at this point. So who knows? We'll wait and see. Good morning. Happy Sunday. It is a mess in here. To no one's surprise, my desk is very cluttered after yesterday. I have just like literally piled everything off to the side so you can't see it. I'm doing my makeup in my office today because our bathroom has construction happening in it. They had to replace our bathtub this past week, and while the bathtub was replaced, all the drywall and stuff still needs to be repaired. So despite how cluttered it is in here already, this is where I'm doing my makeup. Anyway, I have put together a very ambitious to-do list for today, and I'm interested to see whether it will be possible for me to actually get all of those things done. I am genuinely not sure. Obviously, first and foremost on my to-do list is finishing my draft of this book, which I think will be very feasible. I finished yesterday writing the scene that I had started on, so the one that I was planning to finish, and then I wrote and finished one other scene after that. I did a little bit of writing in the evening to wrap up that scene, I have one more full scene left in the book, and then I know that there will be an epilogue. But I think that because this draft is still in such a rough stage overall, like it will be complete by the time I'm done today, but it will not be like ready to show anyone. I think because of that, I'm going to hold off on writing the epilogue until I've gotten the plot a little bit more structured first. Is it weird to try and film while I'm curling my eyelashes? I don't know. Other things on my ambitious to-do list today. I did recently a physical ARC giveaway on my Instagram. So for someone to win like a physical advanced copy of the book. And the person who won, I had offered that it would be annotated if they wanted. And the person who won said that yes, they did want it annotated. I told them I was going to mail it off tomorrow. I'm making a big trip to the post office tomorrow to mail this ARC to the giveaway winner. I have to mail my best friend her Christmas present. Yeah, I'm fully aware that it's mid-January at this point, but we're still gonna send it. And then right now, the LA wildfires are happening, and an author friend that I have is organizing young adult book donations for people who have lost classroom and school libraries in the fires. So I have about 10 young adult books that I was planning on unhauling anyway. I just had read them and I hadn't thought about them in a while, or I knew I was never going to get to them. So I want to mail those 10 books out to her to help with that project, hence the big post office trip tomorrow. Additionally, if possible, I am hoping to not poke myself in the eye again, but I'm hoping to finish this vlog that I'm filming for you right now. And then I have another video that I am wanting to get up first. Ideally, I will film that today as well, because if I am going to post a video about my 2025 author goals and manifestations and intentions, then I should probably post that in January. So I'm hoping to film that today so I can put it up first. I would also like to get my spouse a couple hours off of the childcare that they do literally constantly. So with all that said, and with my makeup done-ish, let's get started. I got distracted and didn't finish talking about the epilogue. But when I outlined this book and when my editor and I were going over it, I got to the epilogue and I knew I wanted there to be one, and I made a whole list of like probably 10 different scene ideas for what the epilogue could be. She highlighted all the ones she liked. There were several of them and I like all of them. I have one that I think I want it to be, but I think I want to, again, wait to write it because it will be set in the future and I need to figure out better, get a clearer understanding of what all of the character relationship dynamics are by the end of the book in order to know what they will be during this epilogue and what that will mean for the story. So yeah, I think for now I'm gonna write till the end, the last chapter, and then hold off on the epilogue until I've done some cleanup on the actual story and maybe even done a round of developmental edits with my editor. It is 9:55 in the morning. I think I am going to set a timer for 20 minutes and use those 20 minutes to start by working on annotating that physical art. I'm hoping I can get through a pretty good, solid chunk of it in that time. Okay, I said I was only gonna do that for 20 minutes, but it's actually been an hour. I'm really enjoying doing these annotations. The last time I read this book like start to finish or even skimmed it really was for Past Pages, which is like the final review that the author gets, where you're just fixing like tiny little things and inconsistencies that you catch at the very end. And when I read it through for Past Pages, I had read it so many times at that point that I was just like, oh, I feel like this kind of sucks. I think what I really needed was just some time away from it. And now that I'm reading it to annotate for this person who won the giveaway, I love it again. And that's just been a really special experience. So it's been really good. I'm glad that I'm enjoying it again and that I'm getting more excited for the book to actually come out now. It does also mean though that I have not done any writing yet today, so I definitely need to sit down and buckle down to do that. I'm trying to decide if I want to go write at a coffee shop or if I just want to write here today. I can't decide because I like going to coffee shops, but I don't want to leave the house. Okay, I have a drink and I have some snacks. I'm not gonna go to the coffee shop today. I'm just gonna write here because I'm so close to being done. I just have this one scene left and then the book is done. I'm so excited! It is 12:20 p.m. and I want to show you what I just did. I don't even know if like the last whole scene that I just wrote is going to stay. I'm sure that by the time the book actually is done and like on shelves that it will likely look way different, but I'm feeling so emotional. These characters have been with me for a really long time, and to think about writing the end of their story is just, it's honestly kind of crazy. Final end count was 114,530 words. That will probably end up being closer to about 120K after I do my first overview of edits. But I'm really happy with where this has ended up, and I am so glad that I have gotten this draft finished 2 weeks early so that I have time to go through and do a few edits. I already know there are scenes that need to be taken out. I already know there are scenes that need to be put back in. The next step after this will be to go through and look at it and take out all of the things that I know aren't working and then figure out how to piece together those jagged edge cuts. There are also some plot points that I had outlined them really well, I thought, and as I wrote them I realized I didn't like them as much. Like the reveal pace of different elements of the story didn't feel like it was flowing as well, so I have some ideas to go in and put new things in and make edits there too. But really I'm gonna call it for today, and I'm gonna celebrate. I'm really excited and really happy. There were so many times writing this book that I did not think it was actually going to be finished, and so to have a full and complete story sitting in front of me feels very surreal. I filmed this video knowing that it was going to be a vlog about finishing my draft, but I still kind of can't believe that I did it. If you stuck around through this whole thing, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the drafting process. Also let me know too if there are any parts of the editing process in particular that you'd like to see. I would love to make more vlogs like this and share more about my journey and experience with you guys, so let me know. Thanks.